You're listening to Mating Habits of the Modern Geek, advice on love and dating within your own species. Are you having trouble finding that perfect geeky match? Do you need dating tips or relationship advice? If the answer is yes, you've come to the right place. I'm your host, Kelly Hightower, and in this podcast, we'll discuss the issues, answer your questions, and give you the skills you need to help you become better at dating. Hello, and welcome to The Importance of First Impressions. If you're not first, you're last. This is episode 122 of Mating Habits of the Modern Geek. I'm your host, Kelly Hightower, and if you're a member of the Patreon, you can tell and see that joining me is Joe Hogan from Geektitude. What's up, Joe?
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. It's good to see you. How have you been?
I've been good. I've been busy. The school year's coming to an end, so we're trying to get things wrapped up. And this
Right?
has been one of those years that's like nothing is normal. Nothing has been normal. I feel like every week there is something new that we're like, oh, we didn't think about how going to hybrid would be affected by
Yeah.
this. Um, And so it's been good, but it's been an adventure. So I will be happy when the summer hits and I don't have to think about school for a couple of months.
Yeah, no, I can't even imagine. I know how difficult it's been. Even those of us like with the court system, we've been at work this whole time, just
Hmm.
making adjustments. And we just got found out that in the middle of June they're going to just do away with all of it, and you don't have to if you want to wear a mask, wear a mask. You don't have to, because all of the court personnel are vaccinated.
Right.
And we went through great lengths to make sure everybody was vaccinated, and they'll still take your temperature if you're just a rando coming in off the street into court. But it's up to you. We have leftover surplus vaccine. Everybody who's got the vaccine who wanted it can get it and has gotten it.
Hmm.
So, it's like with this last month, we're going to transition, and then it's all every man for himself. So I will continue to wear my mask in and out of the courthouse, but I haven't been wearing my mask because I wear a mask to do my job.
Hmm.
I can't wear a mask and also wear a steno mask. It doesn't work. So they had me in this like plexiglass bubble, but I'm so far away from everybody. And like I said, I'm vaccinated.
Yeah.
So I've done all I can do at this point. Work is going to go back to normal because I've been in 6 trials in the past 2 months.
Oh wow.
Normally each county has about 2 trials a year. So we're catching up. They've been running me ragged too with work, but hopefully I don't know that that's going to slow down any, but at some point it's just going to reach just a critical mass of, well, this we can't do anymore, or this is just where we're having to stop and wait for everybody to catch up. So
Hmm.
we'll see. But yeah,
Yeah. Do you ever worry about being thought of as an anti-masker because you're not wearing your mask?
I did. I almost bought a T-shirt that said, "I'm fully vaccinated. I'm not a Republican."
I saw that one. Yes.
Yes, I almost bought that. But here's my thing: I still like, no, like lots of people in my town aren't wearing masks anymore.
Hmm.
And I still wear mine. I wear it when I get out of the car and I go into a public space. I wear my mask because I don't know. Hey, I'm a good person. I don't know if what everybody else is, if they're compromised or not. I'm not worried about me. I'm worried about me giving it to them. And
Hmm.
I mean, I'll wear a personal badge of I'm better than you and a better person than you. I mean, that's fine.
Yeah.
No one's. Let me tell you something that's never going to happen. No one's ever going to come up to me and call me a sheep. If anyone ever saw me in real life, I'm safe. No one's ever going to start anything with me. No one's ever going to, say anything to me where I could hear it. So I'm not worried about that. And also I wouldn't care anyway, but and also I didn't get sick. And I went out every day to work, to the store, to places with my mask on last year in 2020, and I did not have one cold, one flu, no stomach virus, nothing. So I might always wear a mask in public.
Seriously, like I
Yeah.
really think it's the new normal, and I think people need to just be okay with it. Like I do have to say, teaching with the mask on is a
Hmm.
pain in the ass, um, but it's just like once you get used to it, it's like okay, this is just something I have to do, and
Yeah.
I think, I know how sick I would get with. I mean, I work with living petri dishes, like
Right.
they've got disease all over them,
Right.
so yeah, so I'm probably going to be sticking with the mask as well, even when we're told we don't have to do it anymore.
Right. And also for me, it's a new thing to buy and a new thing to accessorize with.
True.
So give me an extra thing to put on my body to show people, to tell people more about myself. Speaking of which, I wore this at the Geek to Geek Evening News, which didn't happen, which I'll talk about in a minute. But this is my Three Possum Moon shirt.
Yay, that's awesome.
so, so
Kelly and I
yeah,
are possum pals.
yes. You got the joy of having a tiny one when you were little.
I
and getting to actually
did.
hold them. I won't go to a rescue place to volunteer because they will come home with me in my pocket. I can't. I can't.
Mhm, mhm.
I can't. I
And
can't be around them.
they're hard animals to take care of because they're not meant to be pets,
No.
but they it was for when you're little and mom and dad are taking care of them, they're great.
Well, and also too, spoiler alert, possums live at a maximum 3 years. They are a
Mhm.
very short-lived, species, and that's why they have 13 babies at a pop. I think they have 13 babies twice a year. They don't live very long. So I also would hate to then become so attached to something that I just the whole time I would cry holding them going, "You have 365 days left." Like, I'm morbid. I could not do that. So but yeah, so I've got this cute possum sticker on the back of my car, my new car. I've already put stickers on it. And it's just this round vinyl sticker I got off Etsy, which has this cute little it's not it's drawn, but it's kind of it's very artistic, but it's a little possum and she's white, albino possum sitting in a pile of trash, and at the top it says "Feed me trash," and at the bottom it says "And tell me I'm pretty." That hello, that's like me. I'm like that. This is my motto. Let's go get tacos and then tell me I look great. So anyhow, I'll give you some the intro. Like I often forget to do because I get so excited to talk to friends. Mating Habits of the Modern Geek is now a official member of the Geek to Geek Media Network, which is awesome, and I'm having a really good time with all you guys over there. You have a very active Discord and a lot going on. There's a lot. People are writing magazines. Ooh, almost hit my. People are writing magazines. People are like testing or reviewing games and passing out codes and having fun. And there's just like general folks in the chat. Like it's a lot of fun. And one of the other things that I'm doing is the Geek to Geek Evening News, which will eventually be available for people to hear. We've recorded 3 of them. Something has gone wrong every time. So, and you can't reuse them because then that's, news is new, isn't the word.
Mhm, mhm.
So, me telling you about the legendary edition of Mass Effect coming out is not news. So, it happened 2 weeks ago. So, fingers crossed that will eventually work. But if you want to see, and that'll also be on video for the Patreons on the Geek Media Network, would also be like a chat involved. We're working on it. It's going to be awesome when it happens. But if you want to look at this video, if you're just listening to this and see a bunch of other cool stuff that we've been doing for our Patreon over at Mating Habits, you can join the Mating Habits Patreon at patreon.com/mating habits. God, I said that backwards, frontwards, and then backwards again. Um, and go take a look. Our Discord has been a lot of fun. It has gotten me through a lot of hard days because we have Rogers on there, David Feinhammer's on there, Paris is on there, and between the 3 of them sharing gifts and stories and talking trash, it's been fantastic. I just did add a public channel that I will link to in the Mating Habits Twitter bio, which I need to do, and it'll also be on the matinghabitsthemoderngeek.com page. But if you want to come in and you're not a Patreon subscriber, it's a general chat. You'll still have access to the same people who are on there, but then you'll just won't have access to the restricted channels. And it hopes that maybe you might want to give me $3 and come on the restricted channels. Just a little, just want to show you what you might be missing. So yeah, so that's my little intro. What have you been up to, Joe? What's going on?
Lots of editing
Do a
because
lot of
if you
podcasts.
because we've been doing a lot of podcasts, and I'm just like I think you'll be proud of me because I said I was thinking about doing 2 more podcasts, and I don't need any more podcasts.
No.
And I found ways to incorporate those into existing podcasts. And I think that will be much better, a lot less work on the back end of things. Because honestly, that's what takes the most amount of time. Like I could schedule games and stuff all day. It's the all right, now I have to edit for 6 hours.
Yeah. Yeah. Editing's no joke.
But one of the things I was getting really into that I was thinking of doing a podcast on is solo RPGs.
Right.
And
We talked about this once. Me and you.
yes, there are so many out there, and they're like journaling games and just these ridiculously cool, creative things. Like if you go to itch.io, which I guess is big if you're into board games, they also have like I think something like 400 solo RPGs.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and they just keep adding them every day. And some of them are just journaling games or building exercises. But I think I may have mentioned, I don't remember if it was on your show or if it was just when we were talking, but Long Haul 1983, I think is what it's called.
I haven't heard of this.
Okay, so you are basically you've got a deck of cards and that tells you what happens to you, and you are a trucker who has dropped the load off at wherever it needed to be, and you're headed home to somebody who is waiting for you.
Okay.
That is the plot. There's nobody around at all. All the gas stations still have gas. There's still food in the convenience store. There's nobody getting gas. There's nobody at the register.
Ooh.
There's nobody at truck stops. Just there's no cars or trucks on the road anymore. It's just you and your cab. That's it. And maybe something is following you, but you don't know what it is or why. And
Yikes.
so you play through this, and at the end of the day, you call on, because it's 1983, you call on the payphone
Right.
to the person you're trying to get to. They don't answer, but you leave them a message, and that's how each day concludes, is you recording audio of what happened to you during that day as you're trying to get back to this person.
Oh my God. It's like The Leftovers meets Twin Peaks. Like,
Yeah,
you
it's
know, at the end of Twin
really
Peaks,
cool.
yeah, like when he would write home to, was it Deborah?
Hmm.
Their secretary. Yeah. That's creepy. What the hell did you drop off?
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. They're
Yeah.
like, you kind of think that maybe that had something to do with it. Like it's really well outlined as to how to set yourself up to start, and then it's just kind of, oh, you also have an injury. It might be just a small injury, but
Hmm.
there's the potential of it getting worse as you go. So it's I've listened to a couple of actual plays that people have posted, and I guess there are places that you can actually post that specific game, because that's just part of it is like the showing off your audio messages. But like that's the first thing I am going to play
That's
when
so creepy.
yeah, the first thing I'm going to play when summer hits, because it just seems like it's very drama based. And so,
Right.
with my theater background, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna have fun with this one.
I know. You're like, me, 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 let's do this.
I've actually thought about, like, I'm like, this would be a fun exercise for my advanced kids at school
Yeah.
to put together like monologues and scenes and stuff, because they the person I just took over for, I was talking to Kelly beforehand. I just started a new job this school year, which it's very weird to start a new job during a pandemic. But the person who was here before me, the advanced class always wrote their own plays, and we tried to do that this year, with varying degrees of success. But I'm like, this would be really cool because they would have a lot more structure. It would be within a very confined thing, and there's so many games. It's like, all right, here are 20 games.
Right.
Go write your stories, and we'll do a night of monologues. It'll be great.
That would be fantastic. Oh, that gives me the whole concept of that game just gives me the shudders. That's so
Mhm.
you so speaking of this, if I've never told you, you need to read the book Wolf and White Van.
Wolf and White Van.
Wolf and White Van. And I mean it's a wonderful novel. It's written by, I can't remember the guy's name, but he's local to me. Like he was from, I think he's from North Carolina, but um it's about a lot of stuff, but one of the things is it's about a guy who writes a mail-in RPG where
Nice.
people do things and they mail it into him, and he only advertises it in the back of like specific magazines, and so it's but I think you would really enjoy it. It's a fantastic book. It's not happy. It's a sad book, but it's very, very good.
Right, right, right.
So yeah, so that's and for anyone else listening, go read Wolf and White Man if you like that kind of thing.
Is it on audio
It
books?
is. And
Okay,
it's read
because
by the author.
oh, nice. This summer, I think I've mentioned a couple times to you, we're taking a big, huge road trip,
Yes.
and we are going to need things to listen to, and so that might be something that we can listen to that both of us will enjoy.
Well, I tell you what, I might stalk you on this road trip. If you come this close to the East Coast, I might have to make a trip. I told Bama from our GURPS campaign, Bama Shocks. I said if they go down to New Orleans, that's an 8-hour drive for me. That's a 4-hour drive for you. Like we should drive down there. And see
We would love to meet you in New Orleans, because we have not been, like, I think that's one of the few places we're gonna actually spend multiple days in, and
Mhm.
so that gives us a little bit of time to just enjoy. I know we're gonna try and go on one of the creepy, like, voodoo murder tour type
So much
deals.
fun. So much
and
fun.
there will be drinking and eating of beignets. Like,
Yes.
I feel like these are mandatory things that must happen.
Well, also too, I figure, how much could a flight from here to New Orleans cost? Not
Right,
much.
especially right now.
Right now, like, just like, just let me on the plane. So, yeah, so when you finally have nailed down dates and stuff, please share that with me because 'cause I'll make a trip. I was talking or on Facebook with a friend who had mentioned they were like, "Should I buy the legendary edition of Mass Effect?" And I said, It's $60.
Mm,
Where have you been spending your money? You haven't gone to restaurants, you haven't been out drinking. You have
mhm.
just buy it. Just buy the thing. Like, just get it. Most of us single without children people, we haven't been able to go on trips and stuff. So we have this income. Like, yes, this is something you can do and it's fun and it's only 60, but that's 4 cocktails where I'm from.
Right.
One
So
night's cocktail budget.
for your listeners, we're doing a kind of a loop around the US because my husband is very big into travel, loves traveling, and obviously has not been able to do it for well over a year. Although he's going to Vegas next week with a friend and he's very excited, so I'm very excited for him.
Nice.
But he turned 50 last summer in the middle of the pandemic, which, there's a big milestone birthday that's just gone to waste.
Mhm.
And so when we were talking about what we are going to do this summer, he's like, you know what? I don't know how traveling abroad is going to be,
Right.
but I do know that I want to go do something kind of big and fun. And I've been to 49 out of the 50 states. And the only state I have not been to is North Dakota. And the joke every time he says this to somebody, he says like, "So that's why I haven't been to it because it's North Dakota." So we're going to Vegas. We're going up through Utah. We're going to see a bunch of national parks there. We're doing a lot of national parks.
Right.
We're going to go up to North Dakota, across to Minnesota, down to Chicago, down further to Alabama, uh, New Orleans, across to Austin, Texas, up to Albuquerque. We're gonna hit Roswell, and then Phoenix and home.
Hopefully Phoenix and home, or you'll never be heard from again. Just hit Roswell, and then didn't know what happened to him.
And then we found out that Alinzia is in North Dakota. So we're gonna actually try and meet up with Alinzia
I
when
thought she
we're
was in
up in North
Colorado.
Dakota. I did too, but she's not. She's in North Dakota. Maybe that's the secret. Maybe we just, maybe she doesn't
Well, they
want
don't
people to
know.
know.
The Mating Habits has not. We haven't made that big crossover yet. Or maybe this is a Mandela effect, a Mandela effect, and you and I were in the same universe. We came from the same place at this particular
Mhm,
time.
mhm. So yeah, so now we actually have, other than Matt, being in North Dakota for 5 minutes so that he can say he's been to that state, we can now actually get lunch with Alinzia and have a reason to be there.
Well, that sounds great. You guys are gonna have a good time, and
Yeah.
I understand why you're not spending more time in the American South. Um, to get to the places where it's, I think, the best place on earth. You have to go through some places that are the worst place on earth. So I understand.
Yes, and we will still eventually make it over to North Carolina. It's just not this trip. I do
Right.
want to I have to go see Nick Kelly and T Morris and
I
them.
tell you, you get to the middle of North Carolina where there's just it's the cities and everything's great. And then you just go north and then you're in the best parts of North Carolina all the way up to the best parts of Virginia.
Mhm.
So, I mean, it's a little corridor that I love to call home, where I'm like, things here are not on fire. We can smell the smoke, but they're not on fire here.
So
Well,
yeah,
that's
that's
fun.
that's what we've been doing. And then the last thing is that my 200th episode of Geektitude drops tomorrow. So we're recording a bunch of audio and interviews, and like I've had moments over the last week because I've been going through like the list of guests, and
Hmm.
the last 2 or 3 days I've been posting shout outs to all the people who've been on the show over the years, and um and then hearing from people I haven't heard from since like 2015, 2016 when I
Right.
started.
Right.
And it's just been kind of crazy to go through this old audio and go, oh, right. I forgot this happened. Oh, yeah, I forgot that person was a really good guest. And so it's been a little bit of a trip. It's really cool.
Yeah, no, I'm excited to hear it. And I'll talk about this more in my Hugo section, but I was thinking about going when you asked me to do the report. I was like, oh, I got to go back and think about, like, how we met and all that kind of stuff. And so yeah, it is interesting to go back and listen or go back and think about like I would have never met this person had we not messaged each other on Twitter or had, they not reached out and wanted me to be on their show or had I not asked them about their show and how now like, years later it's like, "Oh, these are my lifelong friends."
Yeah.
Podcasting's amazing.
And Matt, part of the way he got me to agree to this 3-week trip, because I'm a homebody, 3 weeks not at home, I'm like, what are you doing to me?
Yeah,
But he's like, but we can go and meet up with all the podcaster friends you've made that you don't get to see ever.
right.
And I'm like, yes, please. So the people I'm going to be meeting on this trip, I'm so excited for. It's just going to be a good thing. Like, yeah, right. Podcasting is amazing.
It's amazing, and I'm so congratulations on your 200th episode.
Oh,
When we're
thank you.
done here, I will be recording my message, because my equipment will be set up. And you know how that goes.
Yeah, those days where you're just like, I don't want to. It's a one. Like for me, it's just to like put it in the thing, and I'm like, I just don't want to right now.
Look, when I'm not podcasting, this arm goes up against this and the table and the seat that I sit in go into my bedroom where they're put away because I'm in the middle of my living room. I can't, and I work on the couch over there. Like I can't, so I get everything done when I get it all set up. Um, but yeah, so well, that all sounds great. I'm excited for you. I was trying to think of that what I've been up to. The last time I recorded that episode for listeners who listen to it, it was with Roger. It was a very on the fly. Like I just needed an episode, need to throw it together, and I was not feeling it. I was feeling very down. It was on like the fourth or fifth trial, and I was dead. And so with this one, I was like, I'm gonna get Joe. It's gonna be great. Um, and so yeah, so this I in the span of time though, I mentioned it 17 times. I've played Mass Effect. I'm
Mhm.
about a fifth of the way through the first one. And if you liked Mass Effect, you will like the Legendary editions. It's nice to have them all in one place. Excuse me. Where you can pick if you want to play one, two, or three. They did not change the gameplay and the mechanics, but everything is so smooth. Everything is so beautiful. And if you like space and role playing games, why don't you already have it? Why are you listening to this? Go play it now. Um like it's really and like the nostalgia since I played them all years ago, and I played one twice, I played two, maybe four times, and I played three, probably two or three times. Um, oh, straight through. And in Mass Effect 2, which I think is one of the best games ever created, I did that back to back to back to back. I just continued to keep playing it. So having since then read a bunch of books in the Mass Effect universe. I ran a Mass Effect RPG campaign myself. Getting to go back and listen to the story and actually, for I think the first time ever, really understand what's going on. Like read and be like, oh, so we knew as early as this part of the game that this was going to play. Oh, like and remember, like, oh, I know who those people are. Like that's really nice. So it's a nice little trip down memory lane, and it's beautiful. It's 4K. It's like I said, everything's smoother. Load times are non-existent. You can skip the elevator scenes because that was a big thing for Mass Effect 4 is you'd spend 5 minutes in an elevator with your like loading, and so now you can skip that. But I sometimes I still like the dialogue, so I'll stay in the elevator.
So for somebody like me who's
Mm-hmm.
never played Mass Effect, I know,
Uh-huh.
shame on me. Is this like something I should jump on because I can go and catch all of them?
Yes, if you've never been to it, because this also includes all the DLC. So it has everything. It is the complete collection. There are two things they left out in this second edition. Oh no, in the third edition, there's a PvP option.
Hmm.
That's gone. They no longer support that. You can still play the PvP version on the original Mass Effect 3. They still support that. They have servers for that. But it is not. You didn't have to play it in the third one. I played it like maybe twice. It was not. It was just extra. It wasn't part of the story.
Hmm.
But yeah, I mean, it's cheap. It's fun to do. If you like RPGs, it's it's a BioWare RPG. So it's like Knights of the Old Republic. Like it's good. It's really good.
Right.
The romances are good. Um, it's like Dragon Age, that whole thing. It's that, but
Mhm.
it's like Dragon Age in space. So yeah, I always recommend it. I if I have another wedding, it'll be Mass Effect themed. Like, yes, I recommend it. So, yeah, for $60, you two can own all three amazing games and all the DLC. So
Nice.
yeah. One other thing before we move on to the topic, at some point, it may be for the next episode, Sean Ryan of Alpha Counter, formerly, sent me this. There is a PS4 game called 5 Dates, where I guess you get to be this guy, and
Okay.
this is your wingman. So up for inclusivity. There's a black guy somewhere on the game, and I guess you get to try to woo any of these 5 women. He's like, Sean was like, "Hey, can I send you this game? You maybe fodder for the podcast." And I was like, "Sure." And then I got it, and I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna rip this apart. This is gonna be fantastic." So I don't know who makes it. It says an interactive film, but it's not even a game. It's a film by Paul Rashid. Rashid. I don't know. It's got 5 stars from people we don't know. So anyway, I'm gonna give it a try. I'm gonna try it out and hopefully have Roger here while we do it so we can record like in real time.
I'm excited to hear your impressions of something like that, because I can't imagine it's going to be very good.
I can imagine that at some point things might get a little bit coercy. I don't know. I'm pretty sure at some point one of the you'll be instructed by your wingman to lie or to say something negative to someone in order to lower their self-esteem so they would consider you. I'm sure that all of that's going to be included. I would love to be pleasantly surprised. I'd love to leave playing 5 Dates and go, what a triumph. We have succeeded as humans, and we have come along in this whole, like, women are actual human beings who, at this point do make up the majority of the workforce, and like perhaps we should treat them as such, but we'll see. I mean, fingers crossed.
Well, if it's really bad, then what you need to do is you need to find somebody who can program a video game, and then you need to make your version of 5 Dates, like the real 5 Dates,
Right.
and then be it from the women's point of view, having to
Right.
deal with all the stupid men.
That's a good idea, and I might be able to incorporate that into Roger's ever-growing pyramid scheme of 7 dates that he keeps building on his 7-date plan for success in dating. So we'll see. Must be good to see how his experiences differ from mine. Because yeah, he's an old man with old ideas, even though I love him. So anywho, all right. Well, so the topic for this one is first impressions, how important they are, and I will just lead in with this. The reason I came up with this is yesterday. So current events. Yesterday, I matched with somebody on OkCupid, which I often do, and then never speak to them. And he sent me a message, and we were not a high match. We were in the 80s. I don't consider 80s high. I consider in the 90s somewhere, because there's going to be some things that I'm like a hard no on, or a hard like this because when you answer the questions in OkCupid, they go, how important is this to you? And things like, should burning the flag be illegal? That's important to me. If you bought the flag, you should be able to do what you want to with it. Like, this is America. It's the whole point. It's the whole point.
Mhm.
The whole point of America. Is it your flag? Do what you want to with it. Stick it up your butt. Burn it. So, like tied around something else you own. Like, this is the whole point of America. When people go, no, I'm like, yep. We're already fundamentally, we do not. You might be a wonderful person, but there are some foundation work that needs to be done that I'm not interested in doing. That, and should creationism be taught in schools? That's a hard no for me, because it's made up. It's literally made up. And if you're learning science in school, don't bring up made up stuff. I don't want to hear about Lord of the Rings. I don't want to hear about Harry Potter. And I don't want to hear about any Bibles or any Torahs or any Qurans. Those are religious studies, not science. So yes, they should hear both sides. It's not both sides.
No.
It's not a side. So those usually knock people down into the 80s category, 80% compatibility. But this guy is cute, and and he showed up in my thing, and I was like, whatever. And so I swipe right. And so anyway, so he messaged me, and what he says is, hello, dear.
Ooh.
And I'm out.
Ooh.
And I'm like immediately like unmatched. But then I thought, okay, so I screen capped it, shared it to the Discord, the Mating Habits Discord, and I said, I am out at this point. What do you guys think? And so some of my friends on there, some of our co-hosts are very devil's advocate types, and that's fine. We need those people, I guess. And so they tell me. And so, they're like, "Oh, well, maybe they, it's just an term of endearment or whatever." And my thing is, you don't know me.
Right.
Um, don't call me dear. Another caveat, this is something that my ex does that drives me insane. And, there will come a time where there'll no longer be an issue and I won't, have to hear it. But the idea of referring to me as my dear, if you're not an old person, like an elderly person, not even like old,
Mhm.
like I'm old, like old, or we you're not related to me, or we don't have some sort of close personal relationship, give me no pet names, none,
No,
no
no,
dears,
not
no nothing. And a part of me wanted to respond with him and go, "Hi, how are you doing, princess?"
you should have.
But the thing is, then I've taken on a second part time job. Like I've taken on now a job to talk to this guy, and I don't. I'm like, forget it. I just unmatched with him. But it brought up an interesting question about first impressions and at what point, do have you just blown it from the start? And, and so yeah, like what, like so you clearly your reaction, you did not think that was a good thing to
No,
start out with.
no. You never start out with pet names. Like it's demeaning.
Yes,
It's so condescending. It is not a good look for you. Not
right,
on your first impression. Like you when you first say whatever your pet name is going to be for your significant other, it should be one of those oh like moments.
right.
It is not something you do out of the gate.
No, no. Um, Roger brought up in the chat. He said it was something to the effect of, well, it's not like he said, although he didn't like it either. He was like, "Yeah, I don't like this either.
Mhm,
This does not feel good, and do not want." And he said, like, but it's not like he came in the chat and said like, or he the message like, "What's up, hottie?" And my thought was, almost that's even almost better.
yeah.
"What's up, hottie?" Simply because we're on a dating site, and I do understand this guy didn't come up to me on the street while I'm reading a book and bother me. Like, we're here to meet people.
Mhm,
So already, like, that part is implied. And my argument with the "What's up, hottie?" is that it's a little juvenile. But that and it shows me that you don't know how to make a really good first impression. Like, you'd also probably be really
right,
bad at a job interview. Like,
right.
when they say, "Why do you want this job?" You would not ironically say, "For the money." Like, like
Mhm,
you would say for the money and think that was even though I agree. That's the only reason any of us do jobs. That's why they have to pay us. But it's like there's a certain ebb and flow to society that you have to sort of participate in and get in the rhythm of, or you're going to make a bad first impression. And so I was like, let's talk about this again. Cause we talked about it once 100 years ago. Um, so can you think back of any times like in your life, dating or otherwise, where like people have just said the absolute wrong thing right out of the gate?
Um,
Which I
I
didn't
don't
prompt
know
you
about
with beforehand, so I know this is rude
no,
to
you
do.
didn't. So I've been trying to because I okay. Anytime I come onto your show, I think about this one date that I had that was absolutely awful, and I'm sure I've mentioned it before. I call him. I don't remember his name. I call him Grover because his head was round, and he spent the entire evening going hmm, and I was like, okay, I can't. And it was one of those dates that went on way too long. But I'm pretty sure that happened within the first 5 seconds of us meeting, and I
Right.
was like, nope,
Yeah.
nope, not gonna happen. I cannot. I I'm a theater director type person. Like my brain is all about like the visual picture, the ongoing. How is this going to end up? So when I first meet somebody that I'm trying to date, my brain is going, okay, what is it gonna like? Can I deal with this person for the next
Right.
20 years of my life, 30 years of
Right.
my life, 40 years of my I cannot deal with for I can't do it. I can't
No.
do it.
No.
And I was purposely I was a dick on that date. Um I mean as much as I can be a dick on that date. Because I was like, what kind of things can I say that are just gonna not I'm purposely trying to turn you off without being rude. Like
Right.
Like he was all into fashion, and I was like, "Oh yeah, my my best friend's getting married this weekend, and he's gonna wear all the best men, all the groomsmen are gonna wear our tuxes, but then we've got red and white check Vans. It's gonna be so great." And like pearls were clutched,
Oh no.
and I just like, what else? What else? Because I don't want this date to continue. Like how do I turn this guy off? He's just not getting the hints. But I mean, that's the one that first the number of first dates I had where somebody, it wasn't necessarily um the first thing that they said, but somewhere in that first date they got very possessive, or
Hmm.
very like, I'm gonna tell you how things are, and it's like,
Yeah. Yeah.
no, no, you're not.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's a really important point. I have a lot of confidence, more so than I should, and I realize that. But when I'm on a date with someone and they're nervous, I can excuse all sorts of nervousness. Like if you're like you're stuttering or you don't know what's going on or you fidgety, you're not looking. That doesn't bother me at all.
Hmm, hmm.
What really bothers me is when someone tries to meet my confidence or tries to be overconfident and then just ends up being arrogant. And so
Hmm.
there's a difference between, so to me, like the hello dear is arrogant.
Yeah.
Don't think that like I'm gonna be like, oh, it would be you could if you're gonna do that or say that, think about the fact that you could substitute any name in there. So he could have that same by not addressing me as my name or not or saying anything at all. It's almost as if he said, "Hello, bitch," or "Hello, sweetheart." It is such a condescending sort of thing. And so I find that when I meet people, if their confidence level is near mine, we could have an issue because they may be used to going through life calling people sweetie and darling and people finding that comforting or or just never not being comfortable enough to say hey fuck you. So when they come up against someone like me, also couple that with the fact that even though my OkCupid profile, when I read it in my confident voice.
Hmm.
They could potentially be reading it in the, oh, look at this woman. She's 43. She doesn't have kids. She's fat. Let me come in here and help her. And it's like, bitch, all of that was on purpose, my friend. All of it. Like,
I just love the societal, like, the image of just somebody going in with that mindset and opening the Kelly Hightower door, and
oh,
like, if you're
criminal
going in
warning.
with that mindset, you are not gonna have a good day.
Right. Oh no, I know. I get a lot. Not so much as I used to because now I've aged out. When I was in my 30s, I was not as overweight, but I was still overweight. And I got a lot of, oh, well, this is a fat person. She'll be just grateful I'm talking to her. And it would be like, send me a picture of your dick and your bank statement. And let me tell you if I'm gonna be thankful talking to you. Okay. Don't fuck with me. I don't need you. Like,
uh,
I'll come into your life and fuck your sister. Like that's who I am. Like, don't mess with me. And so I don't, like I said, I don't get a lot of that because the age group is different. I do get a lot of younger guys who are like, I'm really into older women. Is that a turnoff for you? And it's like, well, not the way you look. Yes, I'm very much I'm very much interested. And I usually say stuff like, listen, if we live close, if you live down the street from me, this would be different. But I don't want to drive an hour to have sex with a 26-year-old. Like I just don't like no matter how cute he is. He's very like it's
I'm not getting paid to babysit.
right. Because you're gonna want to talk at some point because you haven't been doing this as long as I have. I don't want to talk. And I can't tell you, can I just show up and not speak? In fact, don't even look me in the eye. Like let's just I said, then it just gets weird, and I'd rather just sit at home. But if you live within walking distance, it'd be on. But and by that I mean you walking to me. So I ain't walking nowhere. Hence the overweight issue. Like you see
one
guys
of
at the gym, I'd have to go to the gym. I'm not going to the gym.
one of the questions, because right, we should probably say that we're in the middle of the Geek to Geek Media spring break party.
Yes,
We should
yes.
be talking about that.
I don't know what to do with that. I keep seeing the graphic, and I'm like, who do I share this with, and how, and what do we do? Where do they go for that?
like I'm like, what does it mean? I know we're doing things, and I think so much of what I do with the network now is just kind of like, just tell me where you want me. Like if
Hey,
you need me somewhere, I'll be there. It's fine.
that's what I'm doing. I know I filled out the Q&A and I submitted it to Lindsay and and we had a good laugh over it because I don't know if anybody listens to this knows I'm kind of funny. Not to toot my own horn, but it's 122 episodes. You're listening for a reason. So I sent in my questionnaire and it was like 30 I mean, you did it. It's like 30 questions. And so she was like, this is so funny. And then she was like, I hope you don't mind. I shared it to the Discord. That's one particular part. And it was the part I was the most proud of. And so I went and looked at it. And she was like, hey guys, I just want to share this. It's from Kelly. It's so funny. And then like Bama liked it. And then no one else did. And I was like, well, wait a damn minute, Geek to Geek Media Network. Go read this funny thing I said and comment on it. I need constant validation that I'm funny.
It's just that the Discord scrolls so fast, and if you are away from it for 15
Oh, I
minutes,
know.
there's like 200 messages you have to read.
Here's the thing. I am all those channels are muted with the exception of Staff and Todd's Dungeon. If you're not in Staff or Todd's Dungeon, you better at me personally or I'm never gonna read it.
Same, same.
That's where I'm at. And Todd's Dungeon, poor Todd. Not that he would ever listen to this. I've had no listeners from Alaska. Not that he would ever listen to this. I could tell, Todd.
Busted, Todd.
I could tell,
Busted.
Todd. I had no listeners from Alabama until I met Bama, and then suddenly I'm like, well, I know exactly how many shows Bama's listened to. But no, so Todd's Dungeon is because he's our DM, not because there's a weird sex thing going on.
No.
I mean, he's in Alaska. Anyway,
different reason why it's not gonna work out.
like he's just too far away. So like that's some real BDSM. Like you have to travel to Alaska like already. I'm done. Safe word. I don't want to. I have to go through Canada to get there. I'm done.
Well, one of the questions on the questionnaire is like, what are you bringing to the zombie survival team table?
Right.
And 20 years ago, I had answers to that. Now I'm like, no, like we can sit in the house and just just quietly wait our deaths. It's fine. It'll be good.
Yeah, I put
I'll
something
make popcorn.
I said it's not the zombies I'm worried about. It's the remaining humans that I'm gonna have to. It's like I'm gonna use my fast talk and storytelling skills. And if that doesn't work, I'm pretty good with a bat and a machete. I said, there were lots of zombie related questions, and we get down to the last zombie related question, and I said, "Is something going on? Does somebody know something I don't?" Zombie preparedness.
Well, it was like it's like I know running is not like if
Yeah.
it's gonna require running, you can put me on top of something and I can shoot down at things. I won't
Yeah.
hit anything, but I can shoot down at things. But
Yeah,
don't make me run.
There was a combination question about exercise and the zombie apocalypse. So, what's your favorite exercise? And I was like, none, but I hike. But I mainly hike to pack a picnic lunch. That's the whole
Mhm.
point of hiking. So I get to pack a picnic lunch, take it with me, eat it outside. And
Right.
so then it was like, how will your favorite exercise help you in the zombie apocalypse? And I said, it won't. I said, unless sitting still will be helpful and the zombies can just shamble past me and my pasta salad. Like that's that's where I'm at. I'm just pretty much gonna stand real still. Like my little REI camp fork in my hand. I mean, I hope they just don't see me as I continue to eat my lunch. Oh god. So yeah, so that's all it's on the website. I know that.
Mhm.
And it's all over the Discord. I don't know where else it is, but I mean, get on the Geek to Geek Media Network, people. Find your tribe because good lord, everything's on there.
Yeah, no, the I was sick at the beginning of the pandemic, not COVID, pancreas issues, but
Mhm.
like I was in the hospital for like 2 weeks and pretty much out of commission for a month. And I came back and there were like 10 new shows, like 20 new people I didn't know, and there's a magazine, and I'm like, what happened? Where did you all come from?
I know. And like the magazine, like it's so I picked Alencia for my zombie team. I picked you too, Joe, but I picked Alencia for because she's writing all these articles and organizing all this stuff and keeping track of it. And I was like, the multitasking alone, I need you. And I said, also, you and I can sit around and complain about the boys on the team, aforementioned and otherwise. But yeah, no, there's a lot of stuff going on over there, a lot of stuff, and I'm just like, what? Thanks for letting me be here. I'm doing nothing. I'm not
Yeah,
contributing.
there's some times where I was like, I feel lazy. I
I
do
know.
I do
Look,
a
I
lot of
don't
editing and stuff, but I still feel lazy compared to all you people.
like the articles they put out are like they're like sending them back for like corrections and like, oh, well, it sounds a little bit passive. And I'm like, am I at school? Like, I agree, it probably does, but like, no friend would ever tell me that. Like, oh God, this is like a real organization.
Ugh.
Oh God. So yeah. I'm trying to think of other. I'm trying to think of other really good first impression examples. Um, for me personally, I typically write people off if the first thing they say about me is that I'm tall. If they meet me and that's the first thing they say, because I mean I am tall. I'm 6'1", but I'm not 9 feet tall. Like I'm not an NBA basketball player tall. Like I'm
Okay,
six.
I'm gonna give you some perspective from us short people. Um, it's just like jealousy and admiration. It's just like, wow, I bet you've never needed a step stool ever. Like,
But I mean it's a thing like if the very first words that come out of your mouth, they go, "Oh, hi, my name is Kelly," and you go, "You're tall." It's not even like it's almost like, "Are you asking me? Like, are you informing me? Because I have to buy my leg, like my jeans, like a 37-inch inseam." I know. Like, I'm
I am
aware.
aware.
I've been this height since I was 13. Like, yes, I am. And it's one thing if it's like just in general, like meeting people at a party and they sort of say it. But I've had guys on or who like this is their approach is to tell me that I'm tall. Also, another bad first impression is if you inform the person that you're not usually attracted to people who look like them, but there's something
Oh.
about them that happens constantly. As I don't know if it happens to men, it happens to women all the time. I don't know if you know this about cis straight white males, but they think you really need to know all of their opinions all the time. And so the concept of, well, I've just got to go over there and tell this person that even though I usually found people who were their size, their height, their hair color, their whatever, physically repulsive, there's something about this one that I'm gonna let get to know me. And
I
it's
am
like, thanks,
so thankful
thanks,
that
Brad.
you feel that way about me. Like, I must be the luckiest person in the world
Let
that
me
out of
guess.
all of
Right.
these people you find hideous, I break that rule.
Yeah, I'm okay. Let me guess, Brad. You like sports and the beach. Okay, well that's yeah. All right. Well, you're very interesting, and I'm glad that you took the time to get to know me, or to give me an opportunity to get to know you. Um,
Okay, you've dealt with dating like this is
hundreds.
the topic that you talk about. So
Yes,
can you please tell me, is there actually anybody in this world that likes the beach?
yes. There are beach people. There,
But
so
they
there.
are specifically beach people, right? It's not just like a casual add-on to the like everybody adds it onto their profile, but I don't think anybody likes the beach. I don't like the
I
beach.
If everybody's going to the beach, I want to go to the beach where everybody's going to it because we're going to get seafood. And at night, I'm going to get to see the ocean. And I think the ocean is really cool.
Hmm.
Because look at this thing. It's this giant ocean. And this water is the same water that's touching Africa right now if you're in the Atlantic. Like this, like we're sharing a body of water with a whole nother continent. Like
Hmm.
that's cool. Um, but no, there's a whole like beach, not even like a Jimmy Buffett kind of, because I could get into Key West, like the Florida Keys. I could get
Hmm.
into that lifestyle because those people are fucking cool and they don't give a shit. And they're very like, our whole deal is we're going to be drunk and relaxed and leave us alone. We're on this island and there's always a breeze. Deal with it.
Right.
Like that I can get. But the people who go, it's the weekend, it's just warm enough. Everybody get into the car and we're going to go to the beach. No, I know people who say that and they go and they maybe enjoy it because they're enjoying the fact that they're getting to tell people that they went to the beach.
But they don't actually. I mean, sand. Sand is a thing.
Yeah, I
Like
don't like
I
it.
feel like a lot of these people that are as you said, the resort people. They
Yeah,
know the sand is there, and the sand is between me and this nice little like patio,
right.
and the ocean, which I can see and is beautiful. But
Yeah,
then there's sand.
yeah, yeah. No, beach or mountains. I'm like, neither. Let's go to this amazing restaurant in the city. That's what
Yes.
I want to go do. I want to eat. Like everything in my life revolves around food. I don't know if you've gotten onto this, but yeah, I don't know. I know people who go to the beach, and I almost feel like they feel like it's a chore to have to go and do the thing,
Mhm,
but people just do what they're told. And I definitely don't have any friends who have the salt life stickers on their cars or like the
mhm.
flip flops or that weird hibiscus flower, which they have. And it's like, there are no hibiscus flowers in Myrtle Beach. Like, come on now. That's
Yeah, I
trouble.
mean, if you're a surfer and it's like, and you are totally like, you are a beach person and that is your thing, I am all like, that's awesome for you.
Yeah.
But I feel like people just feel like it's like, I like long walks on the beach. And it's like, thank you. I don't like cliches.
No,
I'm done.
no, I don't like I don't like a long walk anywhere. Like I like a short walk to where we're going. Like where are we going? Like I like a hike, but that's a different sort of thing. Like that's not a long stroll. Like it's like, and also people who want to go on hiking dates, you gonna get that's gonna be the quietest you ever hear me. I can't
Hmm.
hike and talk. I'm out of breath. I can't. And it's hot out here, so we better get this hike done before 11 a.m. or after 7 p.m. because there's a hot in the middle of the days where the sun is out. Nope, I burst into flames. I ain't doing it. Yeah, yeah. I like the beach at the winter time. That's the only time I like the beach. Because nobody's asking you to walk on it, and you don't have to go in the water. You can just look at it from your house where you're drinking coffee or drinking booze. And so essentially, I've driven 4.5 hours to drink coffee and booze when all that stuff was at my house anyway. And I could have looked at a picture of the ocean. Bought a candle that smelled like coconuts or whatever. Yeah, no, I don't know. I don't. That is the thing where you're like nobody likes that. Um, well, I mean, it's like the fish pictures or the tiger pictures or the stuff on those dating sites where every guy's holding a fish.
How is that a
Congratulations,
thing? I don't understand. I mean, again, if that's your thing,
right?
like if Bama wants to hold a fish up in a picture, then he has every right to do so.
Of
If
course,
you
he has
just
a
wait,
YouTube channel of fishing. Like
yeah,
he
that
fishes,
that is part of your identity. But if
right?
it's not part of your identity, put the
Yeah,
fish down.
yeah. I don't care about the fish you caught. Now I like fishing. I actually own several fishing poles, tackle boxes. I like fishing, but there's no fish photos on my profile. Like I don't need to know that you went one time and caught a fish. It ain't all that hard. Especially these fish they're catching, holding up tiny little bass like that. You get it from a pond. Hold up a swordfish, like like
Mhm,
hold up something. I'm
mhm.
like, oh, a shark. Like,
This
can't
was a
believe you.
3-hour battle.
Right. Like, where you're like,
We
this thing
didn't know
nearly
if we were
killed
going to
me.
survive.
This is the hammerhead shark that killed my grandpa. Like, that's a story. Like, I want to hear about that, but not just when the fishy photos. All men put on there that they like to get. They like to. They're not gym rats, but they do like to keep healthy, which
Mhm.
is code for no fat girls. Um, there is. I mean, yeah, like there's these the kayaking. I've never in my life kayaking sort of fell away, and it was rock climbing. Rock climbing became the thing. Everybody had a picture of them climbing a rock from
I do
700 feet
remember
away.
that. I do remember that. I do have to. I'm going to go back a little bit to your. I do like to keep healthy. That does mean something different in gay dating
What
culture.
does it mean in gay dating sites?
Gay dating culture, it's like I'll work out if you really make me,
Okay,
but it's not my thing.
yeah,
Like that's very much a like yes, I can look good in a suit if you make me, but no,
right.
I like do not expect a gym boy, not a gym boy.
Well, so this has been very interesting, and I think this is something that needs to come out more. And maybe it will. Uh, this whole idea about men at the like straight guys at the gym working
Mhm,
out, and then they get so mad and flustered because women still prefer like dad bod type men typically on average, and they're like, oh, it's because women don't want to be pressured to work out or whatever. What they don't realize is that the working out that they're doing is for the male gaze. It's still for men. That's what men find attractive on other men, even if they're straight men.
mhm.
That's what they find attractive on other men. Women are been completely left out of that discussion whatsoever. I have never dated a guy because he had any abs whatsoever. I have dated guys because they had nice arms. I do like arms.
Mhm.
But if they were big billowing muscle arms, no, then that we've gone way too far. And I think that that's a trap that men have fallen into. It's part of the patriarchy. It's part of that whole thing where they think that they're doing this to work out for women because they're attracted to women, but all they're really doing is appealing to other men.
Right.
And it's like you're doing all this extra work, and it's great if you like it and you like the way you look and you enjoy doing it. But don't do this for me because I've never once looked at a man's stomach for anything. Got nothing for me there. Never once.
Kelly, stop saying that to people because if they stop working out, I'm gonna have nothing to look at. Knock it off.
I
What are you
know.
doing, girlfriend?
That's the other thing is that gay men have been perpetuating this. You've been telling your straight friends like, "Oh yeah, women love it." Yeah, go over.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Stop giving away all our secrets.
I know. You know what they really love is when you look under couches for stuff. Women love it. I remember having a conversation with a gay friend of mine, and he was talking about like, like why women not really caring about what men look like from behind. And I said, you got to remember when women have air quotes like regular sex with men, missionary style sex with men, we never see their backs, we never see their butts. We see men's faces, their
Hmm.
necks, and their shoulders, and that's it. That's why a lot of women don't like oral sex performed on them because the man's so far away we can't see anything. We like the way men sound, we like the way they smell. Faces, that's what we get to see. Unless you're like, pegging a guy, which, we've all done it. And then even then you're not, it's not because you're attracted to their butts. Like that's not part of it. That's not what you're there for. And he just couldn't understand. He was like, I just don't understand. I'm like, we don't get to see that. The same way that like men, this is gonna get super graphic, but the way that lots of men are obsessed with watching their penises enter vaginas or I hate to say vaginas and then buttholes, but I also hate the word anuses. But so if I was gonna write this in a paper, I would say vaginas and anuses. But that sounds gross for some reason. Vaginas and buttholes. Men like to watch that as it's happening because they can see it. We can't see it as women. We can't watch that happen unless we record it. So that does nothing for us sexually and getting us aroused. Like that, the guys will do that and they'll look at you and be like, yeah. And I'm like, I can't see it, dude. I'm 4.5 feet over here. Like, I can't see it. What are you doing? I can't tell. I'm looking at your chest and your face. Like that's what I'm looking at. That's all.
This is what I'm happy with right here.
This is what I focus on.
Focus on this.
Right? Like there's other stuff happening below the waist. I would have to be some sort of weird pretzel to then see it, and then I'm going to get in your way, like looking and be like, okay, like I get it.
Heads knocking into each other.
Exactly.
Oh, sorry. Excuse me.
Somebody's going to knock a tooth out. Like this is too complicated. It is awkward anyway. Let's just finish this and go on. Let's just hurry up and get done. So I will go watch some shows. But yeah, like that whole like all the men that I run across have that picture of them in the bathroom with the selfie and which is fine because you have to take a picture of yourself. Nobody has friends take, and you don't. I don't know if you have friends who'll take a good picture of you. I've never met a friend take a picture I like. I've never met.
No. I remember having a friend take a picture of me for an early dating file, or profile, and I was like, thanks. God, I'm gonna have to find somebody. I'm like, this is not gonna happen.
To set it up myself.
Really appreciate it. God, I gotta figure this out.
Also, the fact that I'm usually taller than everybody else means you're always taking a photo of me from the bottom angle up, which is the worst angle. If you think of a double chin now, imagine if this camera wasn't on 7 things. If it was from below. So
I have a friend who refuses to eat dinner in any restaurant that does not have good, like, proper downlighting. Because he's like, you just don't want to see it otherwise.
Look, it's like it's already an uphill battle. I'm not also going to put stones in my pocket. All right. Try to streamline this for everyone. But yeah, but with like the bathroom selfies, here's another first impression thing, fellas, and women too. Clean the bathroom up, like, don't show the counter. Come up. I don't need to see what your counter looks like. Once again, we're not checking men out trying to discern. At least I know gay guys are. Women are not. We're not trying to discern how big your dick is based on like if we can see an outline in your pants. It's not what we do. That's not a thing. That's not a thing for most of us. So take the picture from your waist up where it's just in the mirror. I don't care. It's a mirror selfie.
And Windex the mirror.
Like clean the toothbrush splatter off the mirror. Just do it. Just do it. We all have it. But when we take a photo, we would like to show the best part, the first impression, the best part of ourselves.
I feel like that's just a lost thing. It's like people don't realize that first impressions are important. I don't understand. Like my kids are the same way. They don't realize that, when you walk into the classroom for the first time, pretend you like life.
Right.
And I'm not saying you have to. There's no moral judgment whether or not you like life. But you want to walk in pretending just a little bit.
And like I know a lot of my guy friends, some of them are on the spectrum, which I don't think that's what we call it anymore. What's the term that we use
Yeah, on the
now?
spectrum.
Is it on the spectrum? Okay.
Yeah, yeah. You just don't like Asperger's is not a thing anymore.
Right.
Um,
But I know
yeah.
there's like a neurotypical and then but then you don't I mean there's no converse to neurotypical. There's not
Mm,
neuroatypical.
no, no.
Yeah,
Usually it's on the spectrum.
on the
At
okay.
least, at least from educational point of view. I don't
I
know if that's
know.
not right in other society circles.
This okay, you win conservatives. These are the knots that us liberals tie ourselves into because like we just don't want to say the wrong thing. Like really, we don't want to say the wrong thing. It's not like we're like, oh, PC culture run amok. Like I honestly want to say the correct thing, but in order for me to find out if it's the correct thing, I usually have to say the thing that might not be correct to get to the correct thing. Please
Mhm.
just just give me a break if I say the wrong thing. I really don't mean it. I'm trying my best. Um, we I was talking about with another friend of mine about how another friend of ours, this was years ago, said something that was like a little off-putting, and she was not born in this country. An immigrant, and I was like, this is tough for a liberal because I want to call her out on it, but she's still an immigrant. Can I? Like, I don't know if I can. I feel like I don't know what to do. I'm just not going to. I'm just going to leave it alone, and it went away. But it was just one of those things where I was like, wait a minute. Oh wait, but I can't because I don't know what Trump's what. Like, I don't know who's above what or where. Like, oh God, back away slowly. Thank you for a
There's
lovely evening.
there's no winning for me in this situation,
I'm gonna
so I'm
lose.
out.
It doesn't matter. It was not that important. Uh, but, but yeah, there's a lot of and I understand that there's like if you look at it in terms of like interviewing for jobs or trying to go in and like talk to your boss and stuff. I know there's a lot of bullshit that shouldn't matter. Like cover letters. If our generation does nothing when we're in charge, get rid of cover letters. It's the dumbest thing in the world, especially since everything's online anyway. In your opening email, that's your cover letter paragraph, and you've attached your resume, and thank you to you. Like, that's all you
Yeah,
need to do.
yeah,
I understand that it is those sorts of things like that are bullshit and they're impositions. But until we change it, that's what you have to do. And if you're meeting someone for the first time, if you're meeting them out, if you're talking to them for the first time, you really do have to think about it and consider what it is that you're saying. And is it fair? I don't know. I'd say I think so, but it maybe not. And is it easier for one side than the other? Sure. Also, life is never no one ever said life was going to be fair.
no,
Like these are
no.
just the
We've got evidence that it is not.
yeah,
So
like this is the way it is.
fair.
But there's a my ex-husband used to he before he met me, he wouldn't wear deodorant and he stank. And he wore deodorant on the date, which is why I went out on the date with him. And then after we were together, it wasn't why I went out. I went on a date with him for other reasons. It wasn't just because he didn't stink. I do have slightly higher standards. That guy didn't smell bad. What about you? What are you doing later? But like so when we moved in together, he was like, I'm not gonna wear deodorant anymore. And I said, why? And he goes, well, it's a falsehood. And I said, what do you mean? And he's like, well, it's a falsehood. This is not the way I actually smell. And I think that we need to live like in the now and be real. And I was like, I think you need to continue to wear deodorant. I still shave the hair off my body. Like like that's not how I naturally am. I don't know if people know this, but this is not the color that my the lines in my eyes really are. Like there are things that you do. I wear a bra. Like that's not where my boobs naturally sit on my body. Like, like these like we're all just kind of faking it and getting through life to be presentable. He was also the type of guy he wouldn't wear a shirt that had a logo on it because he didn't want to do free advertising for Nike.
Mm.
Listen, Charles Atlas, you're not Nike's not making any money off you, my friend. Wear the shirt, like relax. Because there's standards and principles, and then there's like, okay, you take yourself way too seriously. But yeah, so I convinced him that he had to continue to wear deodorant because I said, yeah, I said, if you want to, because like I don't wear antiperspirant. I wear deodorant, but I don't wear antiperspirant because it's not good. If my body wants to sweat, I should let it. And I don't have armpit sweat. Write that down on your spreadsheet of intimate things you wanted to know about Kelly. I don't sweat under my armpit, so it's not really an issue. But I will still, I got to dampen down my body's natural bacteria. That's how that works. Because I don't want to stink. And the
Right.
idea that he didn't care if he stank or not to the rest of the world because it just wasn't true enough. I'm like, No. Sorry. In this house, we wear deodorant. Like,
my
sorry.
my best my best friend is a teacher that I taught with at my last school, and we have, because of the one of the positives of COVID quarantine is that because we were both working from home and our schedules were a little different, we were able to like have our our weekly lunch Zoom date
Nice.
and still keep up with each other, and that's still, we've had to move it around a couple times, but I was talking to her yesterday, and we were talking about the bare minimum
Yes.
and how, like, there's, it's on TikTok culture right now. Oh yay, you've done the bare minimum. Like, this is a thing that is regularly happening, where we're
Right.
pointing out that you can do better. We're asking you, like, you were literally applauding the least you can do. I feel like wearing deodorant is in that category. Like,
Yes. Yes.
if you can't just do things that are just naturally part of the human, I'm going to pretend that not a disgusting creature. Like, we are all disgusting creatures. We do
Yes.
all these things to pretend that we're not. And we have
Right.
made this social contract that we are going to do these things. Because if I do them and you don't do them, then it falls apart.
I should get some
Like,
money back. That's what I'm saying. I should get some money back from somewhere. The
yeah,
government
yeah,
should send me a
exactly.
check. I should get some money back. Yeah, that's the same bare minimum as saying, like, yeah, I wasn't. I may have been abusive, but I never hit her. Yeah, it's like, no, these are not even really bare minimums. Like, these are things that we do them.
You
Like,
just
these are the
do
things we
them.
do. And if someone's going to smell you, the smell should be pleasant.
Yeah, it's
Um,
it's not a flex to say I'm not going to do what what society has said is just basic for us to
right,
be able to live
right,
alongside each other.
right.
Like, that's not, you're not standing out, you're not making a statement, you're just being an asshole.
I'll say it again. I dated a guy who was a vegetarian. I've dated lots of vegetarians, so he won't be able to. You won't know who this is. But he used to have very bad gas because he ate lots of vegetables. But he would not make any effort to not just completely fart constantly all the time. Like, no effort, no, like, I'm not going to take a Beano. He's not going to leave the room. And that's one of those things with me. Like, uh, uh, no, I can't. I can't. I cannot be dealing with it. And so I would say to him, like, that's really rude. And he go, it's not rude, it's natural. And he kept saying that, like, everybody does it, it's natural. And so I finally said that this is towards the end, where he was doing that, and I happened to be on my period. And I said, the next time that you fart like that right next to me, I'm going to take period blood in my hand and wipe it across your mouth because it's natural. And
Hmm.
he was like, that's disgusting. And I'm like, right? Yeah,
Hmm.
it is. We all do natural things that we do in private and save everyone else from. Like, I don't this is not should not be a discussion, but also this is the type of selfish asshole that I tend to gravitate towards. So I'm like, oh, you work in aerospace division? Awesome. Come hang out with me. Surely you'll be well adjusted. Flash forward 3 years later. I cannot stand you, and I would like for you to either leave here or pass away. I don't care which. Either's fine.
I'm letting that be your call, but one
Right.
of the it has to be, the decision has to be made now.
But this is it. 'Cause I'm out. But yeah, like stuff like that. I think especially in nerd culture and geek culture, we get very hung up on, well, I'm gonna be me and I'm not gonna let society dictate what I do. And that's fine, but you may find that you have fewer friends and you make a bad first impression. And it
Hmm.
is well within your right as an American in this country to make the worst first impression you can possibly make. That's what you want to do. But I am not messaging you back for it. Like,
No.
not me. Let somebody else do it. And hopefully all women will listen to this podcast and not do it either. And then that way you could just be weird by yourself. 'Cause I'm not doing
Well,
it.
well, that's the thing. It's like, I'm not gonna do this. I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do this. How come nobody will date me?
Right.
Hmm.
Right.
I get so I try and knock it out of my students. Like, when they start approaching life like that, it's like, I can't cuff you on the side of the head, but I'm gonna do it verbally because we need to not have that mindset. Because no, nothing. Nobody owes you anything.
No.
Nobody, like, no,
No one owes you anything. As far, I mean, people owe you space and they owe you safety in that they're not actively hurting you. That's it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
Yeah.
it. I don't owe you friendship. I don't owe you time of day. I don't owe you politeness.
Mm-mm.
That's a real big movement. You mentioned TikTok on TikTok now with young women and going, you do not have to be polite to men. You don't be polite
Mm-mm.
to them. Bark at them. Tell them to get the fuck away from you.
Right.
Because men who get it will not have approached you in the first place while you're just trying to live your life and do your daily thing. And the men who don't get it, make them get it, like, because no one's going to come to our to the defense of these young women. They're going to have to do it themselves, because even though men have been, other men who don't do this have been trying to step up to it, they're not going to fight your battle. You just got to go in there and just tell people fuck off, and they'll be like, well, you're a bitch. Yeah, your mama, get the fuck away from me. Like, you have to be that way to just get them to leave you, at least to just reclaim your own, reclaim your time. Like, you've just got to do
Mm-hmm.
it,
Mm-hmm.
because you don't owe people, you don't owe people. Women don't owe men politeness. Even men who are trying to deign to date them, they don't owe you anything.
Well, and
So
I've even seen articles lately where people are saying don't teach your kids to respect authority. Like,
right,
don't do it because it's actually dangerous and it's
yes,
actually setting them up to be victims. Don't teach them to respect, and you're going to have to be okay with them challenging your authority
right,
because that's part of the natural order of things.
right.
They're going to challenge your authority. You've got to give them reason to respect you. Do not teach them that they should just blindly respect people who are older than them, because that's how they become victims.
Absolutely. I mean, I remember I was taught, you're at school, school's your job. There are rules. You have to follow the
Hmm.
rules. And I would go, well, the rules don't make any sense. Doesn't matter. These are the rules. You're there.
Right.
This is your job. Do this thing. But never once was I ever expected to give another adult any sort of authority over me if I didn't agree with it. And I mean, of course, also I grew up in a fantastic situation where I grew up on a farm. We used the correct terms for all the body parts. My body
Hmm.
was my body, and nobody was allowed to see it or touch it, including, mom and dad, up until, when I could take baths myself. That was it. It was my bathing suit spaces, and I could come to them and let them know anything that's going on. And so I was very lucky in that regard. I grew up in a sort of a great space that way. But yeah, like I hate authority. I'm one of those people, and which is weird because I'm a rules father. I like rules.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like rules. But when someone tells me keep to the right, as I'm walking down the thing and they're like, keep to the right, I immediately just want to go left and be like, what you gonna fucking do? You don't know me. You don't know what's going on. I do what I want. Your right or my right? Fuck you. I, which, I don't do, but I'm thinking it. Uh, so, so yeah, but well, I don't know. That's we've covered first impressions. Um, don't do it. Don't call people dear or sweetie or honey or sweetheart or darling or any of that stuff when you are the
Pet
first
names
thing you talk
should
to them.
no, they should not be used until you're going to get an awe reaction from the person, because you've been together so long that, like, honestly, okay, so a good a gay couple friends of ours, one uses the pet name for his husband as Pumpkin.
Hmm.
All right, Pumpkin. And his husband responds with every other type of vegetable you could possibly think of. Coming gourd, coming rutabaga, like, and it's endearing and it's hilarious. And if you don't have that kind of relationship with the person, you should
Right,
not be having pet names. Like,
right,
just don't
right.
do it.
A good and a good suggestion, if you don't want to make a bad first impression, is always find something about the profile or about the situation. If you're meeting someone for the first time in person, ask people questions about themselves
Hmm.
that are general and interesting. So, how long have you known X? So, you say you like to do this in your profile. Tell me more about it. Where do you, what are your favorite places to do this? Like, ask people questions. You'll break the ice. You'll get into it. People like to talk about themselves, and they have answers for these questions. So you're not asking them like, "What's the capital of Spain?" Like, it's not like gotcha. And definitely, and one you shouldn't do is, "What's your favorite Star Wars movie?" Don't.
No, no, not a good lead in. Not a
No,
good lead
don't,
in.
because I'm not going to
Because
answer until I know you really well.
yeah, because that's an entire discussion, and somebody will be leaving in tears.
That's politics. That's Star Wars is political. It's politics. Um, it's politics and religion. It's both.
Yes,
It's a double
it's
whammy.
all of the above.
Don't talk about it.
And if you got figurines, there's money in there too. It's the triple threat.
That's right. It's investments. Oh God. All right then. Well, so what's your table flip?
Okay, well, it kind of goes along with first impressions because, as I've said, this is the first like I started a new job this year, and I've started meeting colleagues over the last 3 weeks for the first time, even though I've been working with them for almost a full year. And there's just like one of my new colleagues who I'm actually going to be working with the most because he'll be my musical director. I get all the tea,
Uh,
all the tea from
uh,
this individual,
uh-huh.
and I'm starting to notice that they're just people that have no interest in smiling at you. No, it's just like I'm new. I have my teacher badge. I
Right,
am here. Like you do not know me, and I work with you, and I don't care if there are 120 staff members. I am new.
right,
It should not have to be my job to go up to
right,
every single person at this school and say, "Hi, I'm the new theater teacher. How you doing?" I
right,
do that because I want to know who my neighbors are, and I realize you're very busy. But if you don't recognize a person you're working with, and all you're seeing is this because you've got the mask on, and you're going to have to reintroduce yourself multiple times, go up to the new guy who has no idea what's going on and saying, "Hi, new teacher. Who
right,
are you? I'm this person. Welcome to our school."
right. It never gets any easier. It never gets any better. I
Like, and it's great because we were in a faculty meeting. I met a couple of the teachers, and I made the effort to like poke my head into the room and say, "Hey, how's it going?" And now we get on Zoom calls for like faculty meetings and stuff, and they're like, "Oh yeah, that's Joe. He's great." It's like, yes, like now everybody like you know who I am now. Come
right,
say hi. And it doesn't help that the theater is as far back away from everything as possible. So it's like I literally come out of my cave, run to the faculty room in the little 10 minutes I have, and then run back and hoping that I'm gonna at least like my goal was to say meet a new person every day. Like I feel
right.
like I'm in grade school again. Like I have to meet a
Yeah,
new person every day because there's 120 people and I don't want to walk past a colleague and not know who you are.
right, right. Because you're one of the good ones, Joe. You're a good person.
Thank you. How about you? What tables are being flipped?
So this is just so once again, my life was very full yesterday. Um got a friend, she owns a little shop in town, really cute little boutique, fun stuff in it. And she is the sole owner, buyer, everything, works the cash. It's her thing. And every time I go in there, she's another one of those where we look around and we're like, so what's the gossip? Like
Uh,
what's been going on? Because it's a small town and she usually has some good gossip. And and I've got my courtroom gossip. But if I go in there and she has other customers, I don't do this
mhm, mhm.
because I want her to make her money. And I'm in there, I'm gonna buy a little something. She's got great earrings, great person. I'm gonna buy something. But I'm not gonna try to tie up her time because she's got other customers. And I understand, oh, I'll check you later. Good to see you, as I'm checking out and leave. Well, I went in there and there was this woman who I at first I thought was related to her. Come to find out, I was not related to her at all because this woman had a child with her. The child was behind the counter asking the shop owner 100 different questions. And the woman who was her mother saw me. I came in and she didn't know me. I don't know who she is. She doesn't know me. And then she begins to talk to this shop owner about how, well, I'm going to have to get all of these clothes tailored because you don't carry an extra small. And that's what me and she and I wear. We're just so small and we have need extra small. And so I'm going to have to take this and get it altered. And the shop owner's like, oh, well, that's they don't even really make them that small. Like, yeah, like that must be really difficult. You have to do that. Yes, well, if you carried these things, I'd be able to buy more, but this is all I can afford having to go and get them altered because they're extra small. I'm just a small First of all, buy your stuff and go. Like, we get it. We can see you. You're extra small. Fantastic. Don't keep talking this shit. I'm gonna go fuck you, man. Like, come on now. Like,
Uh,
don't keep
like,
on.
did you grind her bones into bread?
I mean, like, I just my thing is, I'm happy you're extra small. Good for you. Great. You can get osteoporosis, but that's not my problem. That's on you. But look out for that. Go get some Boniva. Get some preventative Boniva. I get all my nutrients, just extras. So But just it's the idea too of I'm standing behind this woman and she's talking to the shop owner about what's Jim Job doing up the street. On and on about what people who are buying things for. She's like, oh yeah, well, someone came in here the other day and bought this for my daughter. Meanwhile, I'm standing back there with purchases. And I'm like, can I please give this lady my money and get the F on out of here? Could you move out of the damn way? Don't bother people when they're at work. Like that's the whole table flip. Like when people are at work and you realize they're at work, if they're taking a break or there's no one else around, bother them because they're not going to be nice enough to say to you, could you get the F on out of here? I've already got your money. I'd like to get this person's money behind you. And I have other friends who've been on the show before, own a comic book store. And if I'm going to stop by and see JJ at the comic book store, I'll text her and be like, "Do you want a coffee? I'm gonna bring you a coffee." And I may be guilty of this too, but I try to be like, "Do you have 15 minutes?" And
Hmm.
she has told me before, "I wish I did. I don't. I don't." And I'm like, "Here's your coffee. Have a good day. If you
Yeah.
got the 15 minutes, I'll sit there. We'll talk for 25 because that's how I am." But hopefully she is feels comfortable enough to be like, I got to get back to work, and I can be like, I'm out of here. But if there people were constantly trying to come to her, she's not in a cashier role. But if people were constantly having to come to her to ask her questions while they're talking to her, I'm going to leave. She's at work.
Right.
She's trying to do her job, and me having nothing else to do all day is not her problem.
No. Well, and the other thing is you got to remember, like, part of the reason why my best friend is my best friend is that we've got this pact that if we don't have enough spoons to talk to one another, we're not going to take it personally.
Right.
Like it's okay. Like last week, she's like, I have been in one-on-one meetings with students all week. I do not want to talk to anybody anymore. I will catch you next week. Not a problem.
Right.
Off. Like that's how we need to approach everybody. You need
Yes.
to realize that other people have needs and feelings and life that they have to deal with. Do your shit, get out of the way. And if
Right.
they and once if they want to talk to you, they will take as much time as they can with you,
Right.
especially in the service industry. They're bored. They're sitting there all by themselves
Right.
for most of the day. They'll talk to you, but have some social awareness.
Have some because like especially in that sort of situation, like I said, she's the store owner. She's the only one there. She can't
Hmm.
tell this lady, "Hey, lady, I've got your money. Get the fuck on out." Like she can't do that because she has to maintain a relationship with this woman. Because
Hmm.
and it's like I got the feeling that the woman knew that, and so it was this weird like this woman just wants to sit around and brag because I mean I'm definitely not an extra small, and the shop owner, I mean she's not overweight, but she's not an extra small as well. Don't keep bragging to me about how small you are.
Hmm.
Number one, it's not really a brag. You didn't work to get that small. You were born that small. The same way I'm not going around going, I'm very tall. Have I told you? Can you see? Can you tell? I'm taller than most people. Like no, mine move about my normal day, and it typically doesn't come up unless someone else brings it up. Like it's like this. You lady, you were born this way. We get it. Like because she's not like she wasn't fit. She's just skinny. Like so
Right,
it's
right.
not like it's like I used to be 300 pounds, but now I'm 100 pounds. Like okay, well tell me
All
how you
right,
did that.
there is a story time that everybody in the everybody in the shop will stop,
And be like,
turn,
what did you do?
put their stuff down, come over. You will be able to hold court.
Right, right. But
You being small just naturally does nothing for anybody around you.
I mean, congrats, I guess. Like, I mean, it's like yeah, like I did not have anything to do with how tall I am. Like my tall mom met my tall dad, and it's go talk to them. It's their design. I had nothing to do with it. I couldn't control it. Um, but yeah, so like just leave service people alone. They got stuff to do. They're busy. Get your stuff. If they got other customers, get out of the way.
Mhm.
Mainly if one of those other customers is me and my lunch break's almost over. So how's my table flip? What's your Hugo? What's your good feeling for the week?
Um, Also at school, I have had good principals. I have had bad principals. I have had they're there principals.
Hmm.
I currently have, at least my understanding and impression of her is an amazing principal.
Good.
Um, it is very common for like she sends out an email on Mondays and she sends out an email on Fridays. So it's kind of a hello for the week. Here's the things you need to be aware of. And Friday, hey, this is what happened this week. Good job, everyone. And on multiple occasions, the Friday thing has said, do not check your email this weekend. You are off the clock.
Nice.
This week, this like I guess the way this school district works is that the seniors get out a little early, a couple weeks early before everybody else, and do senior stuff. And that gives all the teachers time to like get their grades in, make sure that they're ready to graduate and all that kind of s- bureaucracy stuff. Well, they can't do senior stuff, but the assumption was that they were going to be let out before everybody else. So all of a sudden you have all these seniors who are just not logging into anything or signing up
Right.
for anything. And so somebody at the district goes, "You have to mark them present." And then somebody else comes in, "No, no, no, that you can't mark them present if they're not present. You have to assign things that they need to do to let you know that they're present." And it's just very confusing. So then in this big storm of what in the hell do we do with the seniors, in comes the principal and she's like, "First of all, my apologies for all the very confusing emails, but you do not have to do anything. We'll figure it out on our end. If you happen to see a senior, if they've turned something in, if they passed your notice, mark them here, but we will figure everything out. We do not need you to stress about anything else. You're
Right.
good." And I'm
Oh,
like, this is so refreshing.
yeah.
I'm so happy that like I've had those principles where it's like everything's your fault even though you didn't even know about it.
And their hair is always on fire, those people. Always.
Yes, and
Yeah.
it's so nice to have somebody who just acknowledges you guys work hard. We're not going to give you anything that we don't need to give you to do.
Yeah.
So any competent managers out there, like this bud's for you because thank you for actually being competent and knowing how to treat your employees.
Oh, well, that's nice. That makes me happy. I'm glad that you're having that experience. I hope that principal stays a principal for.
I do too. She's relatively new, so it's kind of nice because she's more new. I I got hired in July, and when you're a teacher, your first 2 years is kind of like how you get your tenure. And
Mhm.
tenures for high school teachers is not like college professors. We can still get fired. It's just more paperwork. But we have to do your first 2 years. You have to do a lot more observations where you're being observed by principals and everything. And you do pre and post observation meetings. And my first observation meeting with her was in October. And the first thing she says to me was, "I really apologize. It's October, and this is the first time we've spoken one on one
Mhm.
since your interview." And it was like, "Oh, like, yeah." And, it wasn't, "Okay, how do we work through your, like, are you a good teacher?" It was like, "Oh my God, this has got to be hard for you. First year, not knowing anybody
Right.
and pandemic." And so, like, I'm like, I like you. And I'm very happy I've taken this job because I like having nice managers.
Yes. Yes. That's nice. Strangely, mine's about nice managers too. And not only, but my Hugo for the week. I have I don't know why, if it's just if the planets have aligned. Over the past 2 weeks, I've gotten a lot of praise that I didn't set out to get.
Mm,
And I mean, I do podcasts, I tell stories, I am go out and seek out audiences for, like, look at how funny I am. And so of course I do seek out validation through that. But my favorite thing in the world is where I wasn't seeking the validation and I got it anyway. And
mhm.
it was like, oh, this is pure. It's almost like my like this is in the wild validation that I didn't poke somebody for. Um so I there's a work conference coming up, and when I was hired, it was the month before the pandemic,
Mhm.
and I was able to attend our little orientations and stuff like that. And so we have to keep continuing education credits to keep our licenses and stuff. And so upcoming in the next couple months, court will close down for a week, and we will take that week and go off to a very fancy hotel to then have these courses to get our credits for the state.
Mhm.
And one of the things they sent out for the itinerary was a orientation, and it's invite only, and they included my name in it. And they said, this is for the new hires who got hired this year during the pandemic, and because we know you didn't get to have an orientation or whatever. And I just thought it didn't apply to me, and I
Mhm.
wasn't going to come and attend it because it means I'd have to stay an extra day or show up an extra day early. So I emailed my bosses or my directors and said, "Hey, so I said, it's not gonna work out for my carpooling and my hotel stay anyway, but I'm gonna miss this orientation thing because I already did it." I said, "So, and I said, I've been doing this for 20 years. I've got two other colleagues in my district who I talk to weekly. I feel like I've got a pretty good grasp of what's going on. So, I'm just gonna give this a miss. Let me know if there's anything else I need to do on, my end." And I don't know what I was expecting. I thought maybe they might come back and be like, "Well, you're gonna have to make this up, or this is unacceptable, or this is your
Mhm.
job," or
Mhm.
something
Mhm.
like that. I get an email from my director and he says, the only reason that I invited you was because I want the other new hires to meet you because you are a good leader and you're someone who I think they would be able to turn to if they needed any sort of help because you seem to have a good grasp on things. And that was the only reason I even included you on the invite. You don't have to come.
Aw.
And I was like, okay. So I replied, it's like, so I'll make an effort to go and meet every single one of the people who's on this list, this invite list, to make sure that I introduce myself. I'll give them my card. I said, I'll make the connection. I said, thank you. That's really good to hear that it isn't like, no, you have to, it was like, no, I thought maybe it would be helpful to the rest of the people in the class if you were there. And I was like, oh, praise in the wild. My favorite kind. I didn't ask for this. In fact, I was pushing back on it. And then he came back with a compliment. You tricky dude. I can't be self-righteous about this. But then the other part of that within the week is something that you said. I listen to Geektitudes like in like sounders of 3, like Hannibal Lecter, because I
Okay.
have all these other like weekly things that go on. And so I'll just take a day and catch up, like if I'm cleaning or whatever. And so I was listening to the episode with you and Alinzia, and I was listening to, it's like, oh, this is a good episode. And then you said something to her about the fact that you wanted to thank her because she did something that you weren't able to do. And then you guys talked about how much you liked the show and that I was on the network. I was
Oh,
like,
well,
that's so nice.
absolutely.
I was like, that's so sweet. And so like I told Roger, I said, I'm gonna have such Tuesday blues because I had all this affirmation over the week. And by Tuesday, nobody's gonna be my friend, nobody's gonna do anything, and I'm gonna be sad. I said, but then right now I'm riding a high of just in the wild, people saying nice things about me when they didn't have to. And I was like, this is so great. But I appreciated that. I thought it was so sweet.
Well, absolutely. Like I think I said to her something along the lines of like you were very gun shy when I brought it up,
Yes.
and I don't like to push, and so I was like, every once in a while we'd talk, and I'd be like, and you're always welcome. I'm sure they would love to have you on the network, and you're like, well, you know me in networks, and
Yeah.
I didn't push, and so I
Fears of
was
commitment.
so when you were like, all right, so Alinzia said that she convinced me. I was like, yes. Because the network they need a Kelly Hightower.
Aw.
Like you definitely we need somebody to come in and shake things up
Well,
and
yeah,
let people know that geekiness is not necessarily just about Star Wars, and like,
right.
yes, it's about all those stuff, but it's about these relationships that you make, and I think it's just so, like, I'm so happy, so excited that like one of my best friends could be joining us on
Yeah,
the
no, I have thoroughly enjoyed it. And as you know, my gun shy has always been about I never want to be censored. And I never
Mhm.
want someone to come in and tell me that I can't curse or I can't do whatever. And or I can't talk about the things I talk about. And it was driving me crazy because Lindsay was like, "What?" When she asked me to be on, and she was like, I've talked about it with Beej, but he needs to listen to another episode of yours. And that was an episode where the stinger for that episode was me talking about a employee of mine who had herpes of the eye. And Roger saying, "What, did somebody come in her eye?" And I'm like, "That's the first thing he's gonna hear when he listens." Oh no.
I've learned that the I mean, my podcast has been explicit, I think, since the beginning, and you
Yeah.
know me, in general, I'm not. I mean, I do swear, but I'm not like, I don't necessarily put out as graphic content as sometimes that lands on your
Right.
episodes.
Right.
But when Ray joined, and somebody said they said that the F word was possibly his filler word. It's
Yeah.
not it's not it's the F word. And I
Uh-huh.
was like, yeah. And
Yeah.
then we've got on As the Dice Roll, the Horse Feathers saga is just like, there's sometimes where I'm editing that thing and going, I don't even know if I can publish what were we thinking? So when you were like, my content, I'm like, oh, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Like I've already broken that rule several
Right.
times, and there was no rule. It was just kind of like, as long as our tags are there, and it's like, yeah, just
Right.
not
Right.
around
Yeah.
the kids.
I will tell you though, because on Cautious Optimism, we try our best not to curse.
Mhm.
And it has actually made me a much better role player because I can't just rely on my like, "Well, fucking guys, we're fucked. Let's get out of here." Like I can't be Hudson from Aliens, like, which is who I would be. Like, be like, ah! I have to really like think about what it is I'm gonna say and actually like articulate it in a way where I'm not just calling everybody motherfuckers and be like, you know. Um
And the great thing
Yeah.
about that is because like between you, me, and Raven, like we could it could be, and I don't know Bama. I don't know how he is in his
Oh, he could curse.
yeah, but I mean like the three of us can get colorful. It's become, I think in one of the episodes I called it the corruption of Todd because what 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 was it that we explained to him? Oh, a
Oh,
horse bath.
oh yeah. It was in that same episode I explained to him what a horse bath was because, and this will come up probably in 2024 when this episode comes out for Cautious Optimism. But but yeah, so we at one point, Todd, who's the DM, and he won't listen to this, so I can say what I want. Todd, he he created there was a ship that came to meet our ship, our little spaceship, and it was called the Fly Hard, and the captain was Captain like Jack
Johnson.
Johnson or something.
Yeah, it was Jack Johnson. You're right. Yeah.
And of course, me, I'm like the Fly Hard and Captain Johnson's. I'm going. I saw this porn like recently, and so I'm like, well, I'm gonna go take a horse bath. So, because I gotta be ready, because we don't know, this Captain Johnson might have it going on, and I may be able to like, get something for free. And then Todd's like, horse bath, what? And then we having to explain to him why it was a pornographic, and he's like, what? And we're like, oh my god, it's called the Fly Hard, and he's Captain Johnson. Oh, and his what was it? Oh god, the sidekick was a funny name too.
It was like is he
It was like
pulled up?
Randy Rogering or something. It was like
Yeah, like
it was a lot.
I think we were all trying to figure out if he honestly was that completely innocent of it all,
Yeah,
or if
I
he
think
was
so.
pulling our chain. And because we were just dropping innuendos because we just thought it was like we just thought that that's what he was going for, and we were all shocked because we know Todd is usually like he's the innocent one of the
I
group.
know. Well, and then he was talking about this captain's jaunty hat, and I'm like, I can't, I can't physically get through this without making these jokes, and it would be painful for me.
So I have to pick out the what's it called, the cold open advertisement of every episode, and it can
Yes,
be challenging because sometimes we don't talk about physical things, and
right.
I have written somewhere like episode 30 something, right here, cold open episode 33, Captain Johnson's jaunty hats. Like it will be a thing for that episode.
That needs to be on a T-shirt. I mean, and it's just so golden because Todd is like, "What?" And we're like, "What?" He's like, "I what? Really? What?" Oh my god! And
And
then we
I
just want to like pick him up and snuggle him. And go, you sweet summer child.
Well, and I feel partly responsible because I'm the one who brought you and Raven in, and
Hmm.
and like he had no idea, and then whenever we're trying to play it straight because
Yeah,
that's what he asked us for in the very beginning, like we want to keep this family friendly.
yeah,
Okay, has no idea, especially because I don't know that he listens to our episodes,
right.
that he has no idea that all three of us just swear like sailors
Yep.
and innuendos all over the place, and yeah, we're we can be really awful people.
Well, also too, I could hear the panic in his voice, and I was like, I'm gonna have to go flirt with this captain and see what I can get for us. And he was like, I'm not prepared. I'm not prepared for this.
The episode that came out yesterday is the baby shoe episode, and I was so happy.
Oh God, Baby
You
Shoe
have to.
Factory.
I don't know if you go back. Do you go back and listen to the
I
episodes?
do. I
Okay,
do.
you're gonna enjoy that one because I did a little bit of extra editing for that one because it needed it, and I'm so happy with it. It makes me happy every time I think about it.
Oh my God. I mean, and this is the thing. If you've listened to this show and I say go listen to Law Laughs because Law Laughs is great and I love Law Laughs and it's funny and it's getting good. It's getting better too. Um, our real life drinking problems are being exposed on Law Laughs because the week before last, Jack Wimbush was drunk, and then this past week that I got to edit, Kyra Katan was not completely there. She's a little bit lit herself, but no, if you're not listening to Cautious Optimism, this is where I think we really have hit our stride, and I think it's been fantastic since Baby Shoe Factory episode. It's
Yeah,
just been
that
like,
was where it started.
yeah, like our interpersonal relationships are getting better. Our characters are really like pinging off of one another, and like we're getting it done.
These last couple of episodes, like we're all in a like, there's a Rory rant coming up in about 20 episodes. And like I loved it. My character did not, and
No,
he's still Mr. Pouty Pants out
yes,
in like his little like corner.
Look, I tell you what, I play. I mean, I can't play a role playing character that isn't at least 2/3 me. And the third that's not me is the not cursing, and Rory's me. And so, so yeah, yeah. Like those rants are very much like, I told you this is gonna happen. My
Like
suggestion was not listened to.
I just like it's this snap moment where the character just goes off and it's the most hilarious. Like do you, I think were you one of the people that I talked about with the most popular girls in school?
Mm-mm.
Did I ever talk to you about that web
No.
series? Oh my god. Okay, so it's like Barbie dolls and they're just petty and awful and like there's like one that is a French foreign exchange student or no,
Right.
yeah, a French foreign exchange student, and she's like, "How you say book? How you say like?" And then finally she goes, "How you say ménage à trois?" And the woman talking to her goes, "It's a fucking French word." Like it's hilarious. But there is an episode where she goes on one of the girls goes on this like 3-page rant,
Right.
and it's that Rory moment of just she's lost it and it's just everything that could possibly come out of her brain, and somebody took it and wrote the whole thing on a t-shirt,
Oh, I
and
love
people
that.
so when we get to that episode, like Lindsay has been asking me, what do you want on t-shirts? What do you want on t-shirts? I want that rant on a t-shirt.
Oh my god, that would make me so happy. I'll pay for it. If any of those graphic artists who do those written out memes and stuff. Oh god, I'll pay for it. Yeah, yeah. I'm telling you what, people, it's not hard traveling through space with a bunch of goody fucking two shoes cat crewmates who always want to do the right thing. They get us almost killed.
And I'm just sitting there looking at my character sheet. I'm like, I've got cautious. It's a thing. I've got to play it.
Yeah, I
We
know, I
should
know,
do the
I
right
know.
thing. In fact, this last episode, we pointed it out. You're like Kyan, and I'm like, well, because I think we should do this, but because my character's cautious, and one of you is curious, and one of you is nosy, this is never going to work out for him.
Yeah, because my nosy manifested in, hey, see if that asshole who trapped us here, if we split him open, we can get any power out of him. Like, that's my solution. Can we grind these people up and feed them to our plants? That's my solution. Because I know I'm leaving here. If you want to come with me, that's great. But yeah, no, check out Cautious Optimism. It's getting good. I'm having a really great time in it.
Yeah, and this last episode is a good place to pick up because it's just like the ridiculousness that is this episode.
Yeah.
I'm amazed at how we're able to keep it like there's definitely we've had some very touching moments where I'm just like, oh, I'm gonna cry.
Hmm.
But there's plenty of just ridiculousness and asides that are just so much fun.
Yeah.
It's such a fun thing to be a part of.
I can't remember. Have we gotten to the point where I bring up the mixtape?
No, we've not gotten to a mixtape yet.
That was another proud moment of mine. That was another one where I was like, I could talk my way out of almost anything.
I wish this is where I wish we did it on video like we're doing this
Right.
because I wanted to see Todd's face because he was ready for a battle. Like we don't battle in this. Like I don't know if you guys have noticed, but we don't shoot guns. We don't like I think the last 2 episodes are the most battle we see for the next 20.
Right.
But he was all set up and we find ways out of it. Honestly, Kelly finds ways out of it.
I'll come up with something.
One of the last episodes when we were like, okay, we're gonna have you had the idea to have Haas split himself up and hide the drugs while the other half got scanned.
Right.
And I'm like very proud of that moment where like my character catches on because I literally catch on. Oh, I see what she's doing here.
Right.
And then I get the Kelly confirmation. Okay, good, he got it.
Yes.
Good job.
Thank God.
I'm like, I feel accomplished.
Yeah, because if we were sitting across the table, I would have said that while looking directly at you.
Right, exactly. And it was just this kind of like, okay, you got it. You picked up what I was putting down. We're good.
We're all good. Well, so other than Cautious Optimism, where can people find you, Joe?
You can find me on Geektitude. As I said, we're doing our 200th episode tomorrow, and it should drop tomorrow because we don't edit. And you can find me at Joe Hogan at geektitude.com for email, and then both at Geektitude on Twitter as well as at Epic Grace.
If you want to find more about this show or the other shows, you can go to matinghabits@moderngeek.com. You can follow us on Twitter at Mating Habits. You can follow me on Twitter at Kelly Disagrees. You can join the Patreon and get to see this video and all sorts of other fun stuff that's coming up and all the other past videos at patreon.com/matinghabits. And if you want to send me an email, I do get them now. I've fixed my email box. You can send it to moderngeekcast@gmail.com and I will try to answer it. So, Joe, this has been great. Thank you so much for coming on and doing this
Absolutely.
episode with me. And yeah, I'm gonna go film or record your 200th episode greeting. So expect that in about a half hour.
I will wait it with bated breath.
All right, awesome. Well, everybody take care and we'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye.